So
Mhm.
I'll record this. Um, so great. Lilian and Sophia, we're lucky to have Aleksya on our team, and lucky, I think you will be inspired by Aleksya's trail. Um, Actually, originally from Mexico to um, to MIT and beyond. So Aleksya has been with us since she was a freshman at MIT. I'll never forget the day that I first met Aleksya. It was in a snowstorm where there were maybe 5 feet of snow on the ground, and Aleksya trekked over from her dorm to build it herself. She looked like a snowman when she walked in the door.
There was snow all the way up to my thighs.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So, Aleksya, I'll pass the ball to you. I was hoping I didn't maybe mention this, but I was hoping you could show Liliana and Sophia your website, especially the picture of you at MIT on that
Oh,
chariot you built.
uh-huh.
Do you think you can
Even-
find that? It's to me, it's symbolic. Sophia and Lilian, it's symbolic of the sort of MIT culture. This picture where Aleksya is um, hanging out with her fellow our classmates after they had built a like a chariot like.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about, John. Let me,
Oh,
I don't have it.
don't worry. I'll find it while you're talking.
Okay, it's because I think I have to activate it.
Oh, okay. All right. No worries.
Um, Let me see if I can activate it in the meantime.
Great. Hi, Monse. Is this Angie? Hi, Angie. Nice to have you join us.
Okay.
Great. Aleksya, say hello to Lilian's mom, Angie.
Hi, Angie.
Great. Well, um, we're eager to hear your story, Aleksya.
Sounds good, John. If you look for my website, I think you might be able to open it up.
Okay,
Um,
I'll find it on while you're talking. Go ahead.
okay. Sounds good. So, hi, everybody. Nice to meet you. I was originally born in Chihuahua, Mexico, and I grew up partly in Juarez and then El Paso, Texas. And when I was in El Paso in high school, I was really involved in extracurricular activities, and also my electives in high school were all either music based or volleyball based. And I've kind of always been very well rounded with the activities that I've been involved in. So I made sure also to be involved in like National Honor Society, National Technical Honor Society, and a lot of that involved being also a part of um, a lot of volunteer activities and showing leadership skills, right? And from from high school, I went to MIT and I studied mechanical engineering. I did my bachelor's and I also did a minor in music. And after MIT, I went to USC, which is the University of Southern California. It's in Los Angeles. And I did my master's in product development engineering. And product development engineering means designing and developing products from start to from when you come up with an idea up to when you get that product at a store. So I worked in the toy industry. So I worked in developing toys. I worked on Barbie, Disney Princess, DreamWorks, the Trolls movies, and then right now I'm working on design and development of hair dryers, curling irons, flat irons, and I develop product for Hot Tools. That's one of the brands that I work with, and Revlon. That's another brand that I work with very closely. And here, yeah, thanks for sharing my website, John.
Hmm.
But I did also want to share my website with you guys because I think it's something that I created a couple years ago. I think maybe 5 years ago or so, but I've made sure to keep it up to date, and it's something that I like to share with potential um, companies that I want to apply with. And so let me so I have a couple sections that I have on here. What I wanted to do with my personal website was I wanted it to be a tool that I could use for applying to colleges, applying to programs, applying to jobs, and sometimes just sharing it with my colleagues so they can see what my experience has been like. And so there's a couple of things that I did with my website, which was I wanted to keep it professional, but at the same time I wanted to make it somewhat personal. So if we go to the front page, let's show the front page, John, if you can. The about section.
Hmm. This
So
is
right
very
there.
relevant, Aleksya, because Lilian and Sam and Sophia, their
Mhm.
project right now is to develop a personal website that will be useful in a school application and ultimately in a job
Good.
application. So,
Hmm.
uh,
Good, good. I think on before I dive into more detail on the website, I wanted to mention to you guys that I think having this personal website has been one of the strongest tools that I have used in applying to programs, jobs, and all of that, because there's not a lot of people that take the time to build their own websites. So if you build your own website, that's already putting you a really big step ahead of a lot of people. When somebody is hiring you, they want to know more about you. They want to know more about the projects, and the one page resume is a good snapshot, but it doesn't give you details. So your website, your personal website, is a good place for you to throw in all the details that are important to your experience and to yourself, to who you are. And it gives hiring managers or application reviewers, it gives those people the ability to go into your website and learn more about the parts that they find important. So on here, so this is my about me page, and I put engineer, musician, and photographer. Engineering and music is something that I studied in school. Photography is something that I kind of did on the side for a while, and I took some classes. And I threw it in there because I think it just shows another side of me. I've never applied to any roles that have anything to do with photography. Um, but I think I consider myself a creative person, and I think photography reflects creativity, reflects art, and so I included it there as well. Um, it's also been a bit of an icebreaker in conversations, because people will ask me, oh, I see that you do photography, and I can talk about it in a personal level. So it allows me to be myself. Sometimes we try to be very professional when we talk about what you do in school, what you do in your career, but something like a hobby allows you to be open about who you are. And that's something that's very important for when you're applying to colleges and jobs, because people like to know that you are smart enough and capable enough to go to a big college or into a very well-known company. But also people want teammates that they know they can work with, that they can work well with. And so that's where you showing a little bit side of who you are is very important. And so let's go into the engineering page, John. So this is where I put in all my professional achievements that I know are relevant to when I apply to positions that are directly aligned with my career. So I have in the top, I have the toy industry. So I worked at Hasbro, I worked at Mattel, I worked at Alpha Group. So you can see the pictures that I chose. I wanted them to also be a little bit fun. And then these three next pictures, yo-yo manufacturing was a project that I did in MIT. Contour product development is another project that I did at MIT. The robot competition was at MIT. And then these two on the left at the bottom, multipurpose bike rack and Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Lab, those were from two internships that I did. And then the last one, the Python programming, was just a project that I worked on my own. And it was a super simple project, but I think because it was a personal project that I did in my own time, I think it reflects a little bit of myself. So I wanted to include it there. And it uses coding skills, which are very important in engineering and technical fields. And then so let's click the Mattel project engineering, John, so I can show you guys kind of like the structure that I used.
I'm sorry, Mattel Project Engineering,
Oh yeah, sorry, that one, the second one, Mattel brand champion.
right here?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, I didn't realize you drilled down here. Cool.
Yeah. So this is actually a lot of words. But in this case, I thought it's okay that I go into detail here, because if somebody is going into my website and is clicking on these images individually, it's because they want to know more and they want to know the details. So this is where I talked about the different segments that I worked on. So right there, Barbie on the Go was one of the segments that I did, and I talked a little bit about I think on the second paragraph, the second sentence, there were times when we received samples with functionality issues. In these cases, I found myself scheduling calls at the end of the day. I worked with Asia, and being nimble helped us modify product as needed. So it's where I'm talking about maybe some challenges that I faced, what I did to solve them, and what I learned from them. So that's what I try to do in a lot of these. When I went into the details, I didn't just say, I developed this Barbie and I developed this other Barbie, and then I developed on this other project. I made sure to say, this is kind of what I did, big picture. These were some of the challenges. These were some of the solutions that we came up with, and this is what I learned. And so it also shows whoever's reading your website that you're human, that your job, how you have been performing in your jobs and in your experiences, it may not be perfect, but as long as you're learning, as long as you're growing, that's what's important. And then at the very bottom, I think you were getting there right now, John, you were showing the volunteer section. So as part of Mattel, they gave us the opportunity to volunteer in a couple events. And those were some things that I was very proud of, because I always loved being involved in community service and giving back to people in need. And so I made sure that I put that in here, because again, I think it shows that I not only care about the work that I do, in the technical work that I do in my career, but I also care about how that helps me help other people around me. So, and then if you go down a little bit more, John, I think I have some more pictures, which are fun. The one of the companies that I volunteered with, they were the event was called Read to a Child. So we would partner with a third grader once a week, I think it was, and we would go read with him. And so this shows one of the times that they featured us in their newsletter, and that was very meaningful to me. and to my coworkers, and so I made sure to put that in there. It's always good to include that evidence that supports what you're saying in your website, which is why I included pictures, this newsletter, and you'll see in some of my other sections in here that I have um, more pictures like that, or graphs, or diagrams, and things like that. And then the other thing to note here is, oh yeah, this was a fun one, the robot competition. So this was a big achievement. I actually have had a lot of people ask me about the robot competition. I've worked at several different jobs, and there's always somebody that asks me about the robot competition. So, and a lot of the times people find out about this from my website. And so on here, I made sure to have fun with it. So that title, right? Hot Dog, the most loyal of bots. That was the name that I gave my robot. And it gives him personality, and if people want to learn more about Hot Dog. And so, oh look, I even included a video. I forgot about that. So I made sure to include this snippet of the final. So there I am controlling my robot. And the goal was to use robots to play a giant version of the Operation game.
May I chime in, Aleksya? Sorry
Of
for
course, John.
interrupting.
No, of course.
So this is there are a number of robotic competitions at MIT during winter break. So MIT students get to take a month off between Christmas and the start of the spring semester, and they're able to work on a whole variety of crazy projects. And one of them is robot competitions. Lilian, I know you are involved in some of the robot competitions in Mexico. Can you share with Aleksya your robotic experience?
Well, I have just been to a line flower competition,
Uh-huh.
line flower robot competition, and yeah, then it's really interesting and fun, and it's
I understand you
No.
are quite good at robotics, Miss Lula tells me, and a key member of the Las Hayas robotics team.
Wow. That's awesome. Keep it up.
Yeah.
Keep it up. And the other thing to remember is you don't have to be in a robot class or a robot program to build your own robots, right? I think that's also what distinguishes a lot of good students from great students. It's people that take their own initiative to build their own projects. That says a lot about who you are as a person, and I think that's something that big universities like MIT, for example, look for. They want to accept students that they know have the potential to become leaders. And so what else?
May I make a few other comments relevant
course.
to what I've seen in the preparation that Sophia and Sam and Lilian have done? One of the things I really like about what Aleksya has said is that your resume, your traditional formal resume, is a required outline of your life. But this Aleksya's website shows much more personality. It shows much more of what Aleksya is really thinking. And I think ultimately employers want to know who their teammates are going to be. And I think you can tell more about the teamwork qualities of an applicant than from their website, especially a website like this, rather than LinkedIn or Facebook. This really has Aleksya's personality written all over it. So I encourage you to tell a story about your life, tell a story about your dreams, and your hobbies.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Great.
I completely agree, John.
Great.
And I'm glad that you mentioned LinkedIn, because there's a lot of people who consider LinkedIn their online website or online portfolio. And LinkedIn is a great tool because you can also use it to give more detail on what your roles are that you've been in, on what your experience has been. But there's nothing like creating your own website in the format that you want, that reflects who you are.
Mm, truly, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, Sophia and Lilian, and Angie, um, any questions? Does this help you understand about, does this give you some ideas for your own personal website? What do you like, Sophia, about Aleksya's website that you'd like to incorporate in your personal website?
So, seeing like having an idea of different websites, like personal websites, gave me an idea of what I can include to mine, and was like the fact of the images. Like as Aleksya said, like each image, if you're interested in, you can click in and read more about something that I can like include in mine, and like giving more information, not just photos and just like superficial things, something that you can like click in and just like give some more details about. And that's, I like that a lot, like not just keeping it like generally and like as I said, superficial, but also keeping in more detail about the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
That's a very good point. Keeping it real is how I like to think about it, because I know also a lot of people like to say, or they like to talk about just the achievements and the experiences. But what I do a lot in my website, in the engineering section, because I have the ability to go into detail, I've been pretty honest in some of them, and I've said, maybe these were some challenges and this is where we could have done better, and I think this is what I learned from it. And that shows, like I said, growth and improvement, and that's very important for somebody who might want to work with in the future, might want to work with you in the future. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, also the fact that I always like, I don't know if you relate with this, but many Mexican people have like their own phrases, and maybe something that like makes you like, for example, I always said a phrase that, I don't know, I said a lot of phrases, but maybe something that like relates to me, like in your website, in their homepage, the creativity is the mind into knowledge. Like maybe putting that type of stuff there might give the reader another impression of you, not just like like my name, and I don't know, like just giving another, like the way you think. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea also.
Great. Well put. I'm
Definitely.
all for a sort of quote or statement of your philosophy.
Right.
Um, excellent. Lilian, what inspirations do you get from Aleksya's website that you might like to incorporate in your website?
Well, I think it's really well organized, and as well as I think the same as Sophia, it's really creative and gives you all the personality of Aleksya.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Great, great.
Thank you.
Okay, well, you can see, as Aleksya said, there's a lot of thought and work that goes into writing something like this. and finding the pictures that are really memorable and reflect the text. So, you know, showing off your coding skills by building your own website is great, but if
Mhm.
the content doesn't attract, then no matter how good your code is, it really won't matter. You need to start with a good, as you say, Lilian, organization, and then within that organization, you need to have content that grabs the reader and makes them want to read more. And that's hard work. It takes hard work to get good pictures and write relevant text about the pictures.
Mhm. Yep, it took me a very long time to build my website.
I'll bet.
And you don't just have to build it, you have to maintain it as well. So that's something that you guys might want to consider if you're building your website from scratch. Make sure that you're setting it up for you to be able to go back and modify it easily.
Mm. Very nice, Aleksya. Okay. Well, Aleksya, this was terrific. Thank you. Thank you.
Of course.
So Sophia and Lilian, the mission for next week is to collect your pictures and text and outline what you'd like your pages to look like in your PowerPoint lab book. And once you create your layout in your PowerPoint lab book, it will be much, much easier to code. So collect your resources, your pictures, text, and video resources, and lay them out in your PowerPoint lab book. Then we'll put them in a file structure, a web folder file structure, and then the coding will be much, much easier. Aleksya, may I ask, what is this coded? What tools did you use to code this?
So I actually just used I used Squarespace. So I didn't build my website from scratch. I didn't program it. Because I know basic programming, but not enough to build my own website. So I used Squarespace, which is one of those websites that just gives you all the tools and templates. So it's been very easy for me to, like I said, update it and keep it up to date.
So that's a tool that's like a WYSIWYG tool that you just lay out your text and pictures on the screen, and then it automatically writes the code. But this code, guys, is very straightforward HTML code. And we would like, by the end of this exercise, for you to understand how to edit your website from this code. So one of our objectives is getting you HTML and CSS fluent. Another language to add to your Spanish and English, HTML and CSS.
Yeah, and using the programs or the websites like I did, they're good for helping you build a website quickly, but they don't give you a lot of freedom. And that's what you guys get with building your own website from scratch with your own code. You have the freedom to do whatever you want, whatever you please, and whatever reflects who you are.
Great. Okay. So, are we clear about next steps? Really important to get good content, good pictures, text, and even videos. And then think about how you'd like to lay it out so it looks as clean and simple as and easy to navigate, well organized as Aleksya's site. Unless there are any more questions, we'll adjourn till next week. Or if you'd like to show what you've been doing in your lab book, we could we could, if you'd like to share your lab books, Lilian and Sophia, if you've made any progress over the last week.
So, I don't have, well, I have like, yeah, I've been progressing in my lab book, but I've been struggling with the, like, I remembered you told us, John told us that we have to choose, like we have to have an idea of the universities we want to like apply to. But I have this problem that my family always teach me to do a lot of things in my past. So I've been thinking about my career and I'm not sure about what to study. So I know what like the focus of it, like I want to study something related to food, but I don't know if it's gastronomy or it's I also discovered a new career that it's gastronomy scientific thing. I don't know. It's just a weird name, but it's a new career and it's about like getting more into the food, but also getting more into how to open your restaurant and how to like being professional in that term.
The
But
business of food and restaurant.
yeah, yeah, also yeah, but also I don't know if studying food engineering is also a great idea. So I'm not sure, like as I said, I've been like progressing in my life in my portfolio, but so I cannot show like right now any advance
Okay.
because I have not any clear idea, but soon I will share my idea.
Okay. Aleksya, what do you think in terms of knowing what you really want to do or be before you apply to a college? I mean, it's very hard as a high school student to really know if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or a business person. I mean, how in the world would you expect a high school student to know that?
Yeah.
But
I think
colleges, it seemed like almost expect you to know when you're a freshman or even before you apply to school. What do you say to that expectation?
So I think it's completely normal to not know what you want to study. It's good to know, to have an idea of where you want to go. So like you said, food, right? For me, it was science and math. So no big picture what those topics are. But for me, it was okay to not be able to say whether it was mechanical engineering or chemical or electrical. But just as long as you know what it is that you're interested in, which for me was math and science, for you it's food and some engineering, I hear. Colleges will will ask you, and they want you to kind of already know, but it's just because they want to be sure that you have at least some plan. Because if you say I have no idea what I want to do, what my interests are, then a college or an employer might say, well, then are you sure that you want to be applying here? So so I think what you need to make sure is just that whichever colleges you apply to give you that opportunity. If you know that you might want to do engineering or food, find a college that has both things. And a lot of the times there are colleges that have all sorts of departments that would easily allow you to, if you start in engineering the first year, but then by next year you decide you want to change, you can do that. And you can go ahead and just switch over because the university is giving you that opportunity. So MIT is actually one university that doesn't require freshmen to declare a major. You don't have to declare a major until you are a sophomore. And that's because they want your freshman year to kind of be a year to explore either new classes or extracurriculars, but they really want the freshmen to just go out there and just try out everything. And then by the start of your second year, come focused, know what it is that you want to do and come focused. And the other thing that I want to mention too is that what you study in college might end up not being what you work on in the future. And I think that's something very realistic, and something that you guys need to be open to as well. There's a lot of people who said, you know, I want to work in the automobile industry, and then by the time they graduated, they're working in space, and they love space, and they stay in space. And so the good thing is that I think the big takeaway from all of this is that just because you decide something now doesn't mean that's what you're going to be in for the rest of your life. As long as you make sure that you give yourself the flexibility to be open to new opportunities. And I think that's applicable to right now as a senior in high school up to after you graduate, whether you graduate from a bachelor's or a master's. Networking is very important, and knowing the right people can usually get you in. It can get your foot in the door, right? Sometimes it's just important to keep yourself open and just willing to learn, because the other thing is college is a good opportunity for you guys to try new things, and you end up finding out that maybe what you thought was what you wanted to do is actually not as fun as this other subject that you discovered. So I would say, you know, just when you're searching for colleges, try to find something that gives you the flexibility to try out new things and that has those two fields that you're interested in.
Good advice.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Angie, any thoughts? Any experiences you've had that lend to this discussion?
Sí, well, first of all, nice to meet you, Aleksya. I think
Nice
that
to meet you.
is amazing to meet somebody like you exactly in this moment for the time is leaving my daughter, and because I saw her with a lot of potential, and but she's struggling as Sophia about the future, and and it's important that somebody like you, that you are studying in MIT and you're Mexican and know your background that you have been doing, and she can look at a mirror as you and say that is possible, that is possible, and she's good in robotics, good in all the academic stuff, and it's like in front of her is a huge world, and I know that is difficult, as you say. I know, so it's amazing that every single step is opening a bigger eyes, and eyes is a 360 degrees, and she can figure out how, where, when, and see. And I think that John is doing a great job giving them an examples like you see, and Sophie as well, because in that way she can say, well, I'm not alone, I'm not the only one that I'm struggling with this situation. Because it's not the same when a mom is trying to giving them the situation, because it's see, mom. But when somebody like you and Sophie and John say, I think that is much better. And see, thank you.
Of course. No, I'm happy to be here. And I think, you know, I think we as women, we still, you know, we've gotten a lot better with representation, especially in engineering fields, but there's still a lot of improvement that we can do. And I think you guys are doing a great job in already being example for little girls out there, you know. And I'm here, I'm happy to help out. I know I've been in your spot at some point. So John, if you can share my contact information, my website with the ladies, I'm happy to answer any questions, have more conversations. You know, I've done a lot professionally, and worked in different companies and worked with different people. And lately I've been thinking a lot about how do I give back to my community? How do I give back to people that you know, that are in the same spot that I was in a long time ago? And I think, you know, if there's anything that I can do to help you guys, I'm here to help.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Aleksya.
Happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll send an email to the whole team and copy you, Aleksya. Great. Okay. Lilian, did you have a chance to do anything in your lab book that you'd like to share before we adjourn, or shall we wait till next week?
I will show it till next week because I didn't have a lot of time to make a
Sure.
huge change. So.
Okay. All right. Terrific. So see you next week, guys.
All right. Thank you, John. Thank you,
Thanks for
everybody. Nice
joining.
meeting
Thank you, Aleksya. Bye.
Of course. You're welcome.